Today, we're tearing apart the satirical song God Hates You Too. We're going to see just how it uses its razor-sharp lyrics and a really clever structure to land this powerful punch against religious fanaticism, hypocrisy, and, of course, the abuse of power. All right, let's just jump right in. The song does not waste a single second. These opening lines, they immediately set a confrontational tone. Right away, you know we're not listening to some neutral observer. No, we're hearing from a character who instantly puts himself on a pedestal. And that's exactly where the satire kicks in. So to really get to the heart of this thing, we're going to break our analysis down into 5 key parts. We'll look at the main theme, the speaker's character, the language they're using as a weapon, the song's structure, and then, what it all adds up to in the end. Okay, so first things first. It is so important to see this song for what it is. It's not just a simple protest song. It's a really carefully crafted piece of satire. It's taking direct aim at the hypocrisy that can rot away inside religious structures. The manipulation of faith for power, and the whole business of turning belief into a product. So who exactly is the person speaking in this song? To get the critique, you first have to understand the character, the persona that's delivering this absolutely scathing sermon. And this gets right to the heart of the character. The song just creates this massive gap between what the speaker preaches and what they actually do. They claim they've got this divine authority while at the same time, they're admitting they break the very rules they demand everyone else follow. This contradiction, that's the engine that drives all the hypocrisy in the song. And you can see this persona is really built on 4 pillars. First, they are relentlessly judgmental, right from the opening line. Second, they're deeply hypocritical, condemning sins they totally commit themselves. Third, they're manipulative, using this simple, almost transactional formula: kneel, pay, pray. And finally, it's all driven by a hunger for power and profit, demanding what they call their due. Okay, now let's talk about the language and see how this all builds. The song's power doesn't just come from what it says, but how it says it. It uses specific rhetorical devices, almost like weapons, to just dismantle the speaker's authority and expose their arguments as totally hollow. The sharpest weapon in this whole lyrical arsenal is, without a doubt, irony. I mean, the entire song is sung from the perspective of the fanatic, but every single word is meant for us, the listener, to understand as its total opposite. It's a takedown, not a true belief. Wow, this line right here is the absolute peak of the persona's twisted logic. It's like, in their world, divine grace isn't for everyone, it's an exclusive club, and guess who's the gatekeeper? The sarcasm is just dripping from this line. It's brilliant. So what does all this irony actually do? Well, for one, it exposes the blatant double standard. It forces you to question this version of justice that's completely self-serving. And maybe the most important thing is that it creates this satirical distance, so we can laugh at how absurd the claims are instead of actually being scared by them. Beyond irony, the speaker leans hard on exaggeration, what we call hyperbole, and just straight-up commands. They don't try to persuade you with logic. They assert their dominance through absolute and often ridiculous orders and threats. I mean, just listen to that imagery. A first-class queue to hell. That is a perfect hyperbole. It takes this terrifying, abstract concept and frames it with the language of, airline travel. This exaggeration doesn't make the threat scarier. It makes it sound completely ludicrous. It exposes it as a tool for control, not a real spiritual warning. And these tools all work together perfectly. The constant commands, those imperatives, they establish a raw power dynamic. Speaker up here, listener way down here. The hyperboles make the threat sound silly, and then any chance for a real conversation is just shut down with that blunt order to shut up and peace. When we map all these ideas out, you can see this clear and, frankly, pretty toxic network of themes all connected. You've got greed, which turns faith into a transaction. You've got power, which demands blind obedience. And then you have fear, delivered through all these threats of damnation. And that's the engine that makes the whole corrupt system run. Now, let's talk about the structure. A song's architecture is just as important as its words, right? And here, the structure is designed to methodically build the case against this character, just ramping up the intensity with every single section. You can really feel how the argument builds. The first verse starts small, exposing the speaker's personal hypocrisy. Then the pre-chorus reveals their twisted theology. The chorus hammers home the core threat, and then the bridge zooms out and shows us that this isn't just one bad apple, it's a whole system that's corrupt.
The chorus is basically the song's thesis statement repeated over and over. It's loud, it's aggressive, and those three-part commands are super easy to remember. It works like a slogan for this corrupt system, just drilling home that message of control through fear, money, and forced obedience.
A huge part of this control is dogmatism. Rejecting any information that contradicts what you've already decided is true. That line, "Science is fake, history too," is a direct assault on critical thinking. The only valid source of truth is whatever the speaker spews, which turns belief into this closed loop that's totally immune to facts or reason. So, after we've broken all this down, the character, the language, the structure, what's the ultimate message? What is God Hates You Too really trying to do? So what's the ultimate effect here? By actually taking on the voice of a fanatic, the song holds that whole worldview up to the light so we can see how it works from the inside. And the big question it leaves us with is this: can this kind of satire actually lead to enlightenment? Can making fun of something be a path to understanding it? When you boil it all down, the takeaway is a four-part critique. It attacks religious hypocrisy, it exposes how fear is used as a weapon of control, it condemns the exploitation of followers for money, and it makes a strong case for critical thinking in the face of rigid, unquestionable dogma. And this is probably the most crucial distinction to make. The song is not attacking religion or faith in general. It is specifically targeting the fanatical, hypocritical, and manipulative distortion of faith. It's a critique of the perversion of belief, not belief itself. And the song ends with this final, chillingly transactional line. It just perfectly wraps up the entire critique. Faith is reduced to a cash transaction, salvation becomes a product you have to buy, and you got that final sarcastic twist, rebranding God as an instrument for the speaker's own petty hatreds. It's a really powerful and thought-provoking way to end.